I moved to England in 2000 on British Council Chevening Scholarship.
I was born in Georgia. My whole family is from Georgia. We emigrated to the UK when I was 8 years old in 1994.
In 2002, I signed a contract with English National Ballet. I came for audition and I got my job here.
I came in this country in 1997.
I moved to England in 2001.
In 2006, I was visiting England to attend clinical trials investigator meeting where I met my future husband.
I moved to England in 1992 and I lived here longer than I lived in Georgia.
So it's almost 27 years since we moved to Britain.
I have 2 children who were born in England and they inherited Georgia, but I adopted this country.
I came to the UK in 1996, employed by newly opened Georgian embassy.
I moved to England in 2001.
So I moved in 1992. It was completely different London, believe it or not.
We moved to England in 1990, very beginning of 1992. So it was January 1992.
I arrived in the UK in 2019.
My name is Tiko Tuskadze. I've been living in London over 24 years now, and I run Georgian restaurant.
I am Steinhouse-Kandelaki. I'm British Georgian visual artist.
My name is Elene Glurjidze.
I'm Keti Melua and I'm a musician. I make records.
I'm Tchanturia. I'm professor of psychology in King's College London, and at the same time I'm consultant clinical psychologist for National Eating Disorder Service at Maudsley.
My name is Keti Eremeishvili. I'm a doctor. I specialize in the field of medical oncology and I currently work at Brighton and Sussex University Hospitals.
I'm Lia Chokoshvili. I'm the teacher of Georgian language and the leader of the Oxford Georgian translation project at the University of Oxford.
My name is Mako. I come from medical background.
My name is Mako Abashidze. I was born in Tbilisi.
I'm Abashidze and I am chair of British Georgian Society.
My name is Tsira Kemularia and I am a very proud Georgian living in London, UK.
My name is Salome. I am a pianist, a musician, and a PhD researcher at the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire.
Would you say Britain has changed you?
I'm a very proud Georgian, and England has been a place where I have felt that you can be your authentic self. Also gives you an opportunity to integrate, to really make the most of this country.
It definitely brought a lot of hidden things which I didn't know was in me, what I loved. It's helped to find myself in a way. Because before I didn't know what I'm going to do, but the opportunity to run the restaurant, and it was a great opportunity for me. First of all, because it's helped me to cope with nostalgia which I had about Georgia. And the best thing I think it's opened in me is that I've started appreciating my culture more than I used to do it when I used to live in Georgia. It's opened up all the opportunities that I embraced every moment, and it made me kind of be proud to be Georgian and be proud to introduce my culture to other people.
Over my professional life, which now spans over 25 years, most of it has been working for one of the largest energy firms, Shell. And with Shell, I have had a great opportunity to work in different parts of the businesses in different countries around the globe. And I'm currently a vice president of corporate and a UK financial controller. And with that role, I also am a member of the leadership team in Shell UK at the country level. I joined this big international firm with over 90,000 people, where you can get quite lost. You know, it's quite complex, it's quite big. But I realized that opportunities were there. What I had to do is really work hard, be really focused, and absorb as much as possible. Of course, nothing can be done on your own, and I have benefited over the years from fantastic leaders, both male and female, both British, international, and I think that's been a life lesson for me that this country does offer plenty of opportunities. However, those opportunities don't come easy. It requires a real concerted effort of work, of study, of building relationships.
The thing is, moving to the UK was an incredibly, obviously it was a huge turmoil for my family to uproot, to move with an 8-year-old child and a 1-year-old child. But I was not afraid because I'd always loved music, and I knew the UK was where the Beatles, Led Zeppelin and Queen were from, and they were my favourite bands because my uncles in Georgia used to listen to them a lot. Now, some people know that in Georgia we used to have electricity blackouts. In fact, no, we'd had electricities coming on. Those were the events of the day because the more norm was that there was no electricity. And so when the lights would come on, my uncles would run to their cassette players and they would put on Led Zeppelin, Queen, sometimes Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath wasn't my kind of thing, but anyway, I was so excited about moving to the UK because, you know, this idea that a country where you can make a living with music, with creative arts seemed, you know, so exciting.
Last 15 years, whatever I do is connected to Georgia, so I'm very grateful to this country and all my mentors from British side, especially Lord Cromwell, who helped me to found the British Georgian Chamber of Commerce. That's my main activity. Also, you know, with a group of friends from Britain and Georgia, we together founded the wine import company. Now we have 2 wine bars, and we are so proud to say that in our wine bars we have the largest, biggest collection of all available Georgian wines, because we not only import ourselves, we buy from all available importers the wines.
Even though I was very young in Georgia, I kind of saw, you know, looking at the women around me, most of them were the most wonderful housewives, beautiful women, super intelligent, super strong. But really, it was the guys that would go off and make the money and work. And I remember just feeling desperate that I didn't want that for my future. So when we moved to the UK and I realized that there was a place of opportunity and that I could, you know, make a living out of what I loved. I mean, it was completely naive to sort of, you know, become a recording artist. But, you know, the opportunity was there and the environment was there.
I hear babies cry.
And the music industry in the 90s and the early noughties was, you know, really thriving. It was kind of at the peak of its game. And of course there was this glorious heritage of the 60s and the 70s, and what the UK did for the world of music was completely kind of profound. You know, from giving us the Beatles to Led Zeppelin to Queen, these sort of iconic artists and music that, you know, really moved people at their very core, even for those of us that didn't understand English and we didn't have a clue what those songs lyrically meant.
It was a long journey living in England. It was the country which gave me lots of opportunities in life, learning a lot, meeting the most amazing people, and the job I'm doing, which is so important to me. Georgia gave me language, and England gave me the opportunities. And I always wanted to give back, and the giving back was teaching the language which I inherited from my country, and share it with the students at the University of Oxford, and share the Georgian literature and the language, and that was the huge advantage that I have here in this country, and the country allowed me to do it. So I became sort of bridge between these 2 countries, and I think I will continue working on this bridge until the life allows me.
Here you feel welcomed, respected, represented and heard. Britain gives you an opportunity to embrace the British culture and keep your national identity. For instance, I feel my Georgian roots on British soil, and big thank you to Britain for that. Britain gives you an opportunity to use your knowledge and skills and be employed. Britain gave me an opportunity to raise my daughter, give her a decent education and life.
With that kind of ideal and that kind of crazy energy, once we settled in this country, I just thought, okay, I was like, okay, me becoming a recording artist, the fact that we now live in this country is like, we're sort of 90% there. Because actually just coming here and being in a country and a culture that, you know, gives you those opportunities, you know, and being born in a place like that, that's sort of the greatest ticket and the greatest bit of luck. And, you know, and to kind of feel it in your spirit and to feel it every day, you know, despite the fact that you get knocks all the time. And I really think that, you know, that kind of energy inside you and that sort of, you know, positivity then helped me to just keep at it. And then eventually I released my first record and it goes to #1 and it stays there for like, I don't know, something like 7 or 9 weeks. And after 20 years in the music industry, you know, I've got something like 56 platinum awards. So yeah, it's remarkable.
UK changed me enormously, actually. So in the beginning of my stay here, I come from the generation actually of Georgians that are lost generation. So what I mean by that is I was growing up in 80s and 90s when Georgia was suffering tremendously from the aftershock of the breaking up of the Soviet Union and all related challenges that we had. So for me the priority was to find safe space in this marvelous country, and that's what it provided me and changed me really in a positive way. But in addition to that, what I found in the UK, it opened up space for me to change my perspective completely on life and find my passion, what is important really for me. And that's been finding a path towards becoming a professional visual artist. I was working in the banking sector for over a decade, had a successful career, so that was my priority at the time, earlier on. But then I graduated from the Art Academy and I never looked back.
Since we moved here, I felt that I was welcomed, first of all. Great Britain opened for me amazing opportunities, and I flourished as well as my family members. So I was established professional already, associate professor in Tbilisi State University, but the things I achieved here for 27 years were amazing. And just to give you a little flavor, I'm extremely proud that I supported lots of women in science. Many of my formal PhD students now are associate professors or professors in British universities, very prestigious ones, for example in Oxford, UCL, and in many different places in the UK, as well as internationally. Some of my ex-PhD students and doctoral clinical psychology students are working in Chile, in Mexico, in Brazil. I had few PhD students from China, from Europe, and it makes me really, really proud and very privileged and honored that thanks to these experiences, I feel like connected to the world psychology, and I do my favorite job with great pleasure and happiness. And I truly truly believe that these opportunities were only possible in this country.
Maudsley, artistic director of English National Ballet, he saw me performing in Australia, strangely enough, in 2000. And when my father sent my CV, he remembered it and he called me to take a class and audition, and I was offered a job. I couldn't believe it. It was, because I always said that, there are so many wonderful dancers and everybody is looking for the better place, and why me? But it happened. Yeah, my father was very proud. Yeah, he made a special fuss about it. He called me and with a bottle of champagne, asked me to sit down, and he announced, ready to me, that I got a job here as a principal dancer at English National Ballet.
I am Nino Tchanturia, Georgian, born in Tbilisi, into an artistic family. My father was famous composer, David Tchanturia. My mother was a movie star, Liana Satiani. And my brother was world-renowned concert pianist, and all of them were teachers as well. Because I was brought up in a very artistic family, and contribution to arts and culture of Georgia was immense from my family's side, I just decided to continue the legacy and continue to help young people into their careers, into their future, as much as I can, obviously, to establish Tchanturia Foundation. The Tchanturia Foundation then itself decided to create Tchanturia International Music Festival. And we have wonderful projects with young people, and I hope, we can do a very interesting festivals each year. It's always about young people, about their future and what we are planning and how we are planning to direct their lives and direct their musical education. That's what it is about.
I was already an experienced pianist when I came to this country, and some of the doors that have opened to me in the world of music have been particularly interesting because it's given me an opportunity to work with some of the finest musicians, pianists, not only in the UK but in the world as well. But I think as a PhD student, being a complete novice in the world of academia, I've learned everything there is to know here in the UK. And for this, I'm very, very thankful to some of my mentors, some of my doctoral supervisors, who have always lent a helping hand and have gone above and beyond to teach me all I needed to know about the academic world, and more importantly, about doing a practice-based research in music, which is a completely underexplored field in the world of research, and it's something that I'm planning on implementing when I go back to Georgia to sort of teach that to the next generation of artists so that they can be musicians and critical thinkers at the same time.
It is the opportunities that the country is giving you and offering you. And in my profession, in my particular case, it is a well-established, structured medical training that enables you to reach your full potential and become what you've always wanted to be.
I think I was very privileged to, find myself in this country, because on top of my professional, development and career, I had some dreams in my life, and one of them was to have a Georgian restaurant. It has become obvious to me at that point that it was very easy if I was ready to work very hard and learn on my own mistakes, which I did. And in 2008, I set up a Georgian restaurant, Tamada. It was one of the best Georgian restaurants over many years, had lots of awards, like the best authentic Georgian experience, and lots of happy customers. I am a founder of the biggest wine importer in the UK, Georgian Wine Importer, Georgian Wine Guild, and we have like portfolio of many different winemakers, so small ones and big ones. So I think it is one of the good ways to present Georgia to the United Kingdom.
The biggest challenge was to enter into the foundation program, which is a training program for the new doctors due to high demand and limited availability for the training posts. So after a successful application process and interview process, I entered the program, and that's where the whole journey started. It was really difficult in the beginning, as you had to do rows of nights, lots of long days and weekends, and I was finding more and more difficult to find a healthy work-life balance, especially with 2 young children at home. But at the same time, it was fun as you are learning, progressing, developing new skills. And I remember my first job was at Queen Elizabeth Hospital in London, and I was lucky enough to have Dr. Thomas Stokes, my clinical tutor and supervisor. And along with Dr. Stokes, we have accomplished a very significant project in Southeast London, as he was interested, he was a respiratory physician and was interested in lung cancer. That project resulted in the increase in the surgical resection rates in lung cancer patients, therefore improved their survival. And that motivated me further to pursue my career in medical oncology.
And 1 and 2 and 3 and change. And
I always wanted, and I know that my second career will be teaching. It's interesting because statistically, when you look at principal dancers, not many of them follows like a teaching, like a school teaching, because teaching in generally, I think it's a very difficult skill. It requires a lot of responsibility, knowledge, and in a way a specific certain talent, because not every wonderful dancer have an ability to explain to a student how actually to do it.
Yeah, Bruno, don't follow, don't squash, yeah? Weight stays on the supporting leg.
They've been really successful. We can see our first students now joining the companies and achieving, so already been members of the companies, and we have so many upcoming young talent dancers. We received like yesterday we got 11 medals in a global dance competition, and the day before 2. And last week we had 2 medals in Scottish ballet competition. It's amazing for a small private ballet school.
Time to the other leg.
I'd like to ask you about your contribution to this country. What are you giving in exchange?
To me, sort of performing a song means the world. I think the songs that I've been fortunate enough to sing and to have given them that different tilt and that different light, because I think, music is so healing and it means so much to so many people. So I'd like to think, these records have contributed.
I recently even finished studies of getting a chartered directorship with Institute of Directors, which Britain prides itself of having this high standard of governance and management, which I study, and I give that back in my professional sense, both here in the UK with the way I lead my team and the organization that I work in, as well as sharing the best practices in Georgia with the bank that I'm working with. And I think this is in reciprocity again of what I've taken from Britain, but also sharing those experiences. And last but not least, what I give back is I contribute to the tapestry of real diversity in England. I'm Georgian, as I said, very proud Georgian, and I make up the quilt of what England and Britain represents, which is a very tolerant society that enables you to celebrate your own identity. And I really feel that I carry that ambassadorship of being Georgia in every way.
I feel very proud because it's like almost giving it back something to this country that once, homed us. It's because I do call England, London my home. Although I always say I have another home and another home, but this is home. This is home because I also met my husband here. We've got our house, our job is here, our son was born here. Although he loves Georgia, he speaks Georgian, he's very much Georgian, but it's still home. So we owe a big deal to this country that, welcomed us. So I want to give it back in return, but the only thing I know and I want to know is to pass on my experience and knowledge. And one day when I won't be here, there's a legacy left after me.
What I am giving in return to this amazing country, my 100% commitment to the job I love, and I think I'm good at it. And I hope that my children, Alex and Sophie, who are dedicated and good citizens to this country, is another very important contribution, I would like to believe.
It's not about just prescribing or treating people or get an excellent training. It's more than that in my profession. You are there with people in their most vulnerable and life-changing times of their lives, and sometimes that requires dedication beyond clinical commitment, and that's what I think I'm given in exchange.
Only this year I participated in various exhibitions in Washington, Biennale in Portugal, twice in Italy, in London and Georgia. And in all these exhibitions I represented both Georgia and the UK. So I can say that in a way, inadvertently, my art combines the two cultures. And finally, what I wanted to say, in 2017, when I had a solo exhibition at the Georgian Embassy in London, I presented a series of portraits of Georgians working and living abroad, mainly in the UK. And my exhibition was called Home Away from Home. And this is exactly what England represents for me, a very, very welcoming home away from home. Thank you.